Yo, 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 yo. Yo, 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 yo. Bit of a headache today, but we're gonna see what we can do. I'm gonna try to make it work. All right. All right. Here we go again. Here we go again. It's Saturday. It's Saturday. It's Saturday. It's Saturday. We're back again. Sticky, icky, 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 icky. Drinking water today. I have a headache, so drinking water today. Hope you're having a good day today. We've got a presentation planned for later. We're going to talk about synesthesia. We're going to talk about synesthesia. Cup. I got 2 cups. I got 2 cups today. Coffee and water. It's a German thing you wouldn't understand unless you were German. We like to have multiple drinks. We have one for digestion, one for hydration, and one for nutrition. We're gonna be chill today. We're gonna be chill today. Can't relate. Yeah, definitely can't relate. How many hard-boiled eggs have you eaten this week? How are you feeling? About eggs. I was just joking. Just German jokes. As it turns out, I am quite popular in the fatherland. Deutschland ist gut. I've not been able to fully get rid of my negative emotions, but it's getting better. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. We're glad to hear that it's getting better. Feeling hopeful today. Excellent. Excellent. Let's party. Already too sad for today. 3 days till election day. 3 days till election day. How excited are we? We're excited. Party hardy with Marty. Is Marty here? It's not a party without Marty. It's Marty the party. I'm running at about 20% brain power today. I'm running at about 20% brain power right now, I'd say. So I'm kind of on battery saving mode. But we're gonna make do. We're gonna power through. What's it like right now in America? Tense. Very tense. Also, nobody's really happy. The thing about it is, like, nobody's really happy with their political choices. Like, there's, like, the only people that are voting for Harris are the people who are like, okay, well, I guess I have to vote against Donald Trump. And then on the other side, it's just like, well, we gotta stop socialism. What's so wild to me is how they will accuse Kamala of being a communist, and they will actually make signs that say, like, communism, like her face and her name. You know, you get what I'm trying to say. I'm just like, I wish that Kamala Harris was the socialist nightmare that Republicans paint her to be. I wish. But she's actually to the right of Joe Biden on many things. The thing about Democrats is they love to lose. Democrats don't want to win. They haven't wanted to win in a long time. They like to lose because they actually raise more money when they lose. They actually are able to, you know, raise more funds when they lose. And if they were to win and they were to actually pass meaningful legislation, then they've got nothing to run on the next year. Like, we're just gonna have to keep arguing about abortion for another 20 years. I would love a good democratic socialist candidate. I just want I want public health care, I want public housing, I want no tuition in college, and I feel like these things just make sense. It's like, why should you shackle your citizens with debt because they want to become educated? Isn't that good for your country to have more educated citizens? And I don't think these are radical ideas, but some people will act like they are radical ideas. I'm like, no, like, most of the civilized world has these things. But honestly, I just feel like America is insane. I feel like America is insane at this point. It's like we're arguing how to make schools more secure against mass shooters instead of addressing the gun problem. It's like, no, we just need stronger doors. We need bulletproof glass. We need bulletproof backpacks. Like, am I taking crazy pills? Am I taking crazy pills where we literally have children walking around with bulletproof backpacks? Like, what kind of nightmare is this? After some further research on the two main US parties, I got the impression in USA you can only vote extreme right or right. Yep. That's it. Those are your choices. Oh yeah, it's very dystopian. We are the land of cheeseburgers and assault rifles. Alrighty, we got some questions to get to. Let's get to the question box. I'm not gonna do too much lingering today. Like I said, I've got a headache, so we're gonna power through. Let me link to an article here. A father who named his sons winner and loser. Why are you dating a Trumpy is the real question. In this house, we love Donald J. Trump. Father names both his sons winner and loser for this reason. Did they not get a better picture? In 1958, Robert Lane from New York conducted an experiment with his children by naming his sons winner and loser to observe the impact on their lives. This is kind of psychopathic, if I'm gonna be honest. This is just like, let me name my children something just to see how it fucks with them. That's kind of twisted. In 1958, immediately after the birth of his youngest son, Robert Lane decided to name him Loser. Earlier, when naming his second son Winner, Lane hoped it would provide him an advantage in life. The decision to name his last son Loser stemmed from his belief it would be humorous. The way that people treated their children in like the way that people treated their children in this period of time was just so unreal to me. Hey, you know why boomers are fucked up? Yeah, it probably had to do a lot with leaded gasoline. They were huffing all those leaded gasoline fumes. So what happened to Winner and Loser? Winner and Loser were raised together in the Wagner projects in Harlem. Despite their shared upbringing, they developed into contrasting individuals. Loser accelerated in academics and sports, whereas Winner pursued a path that led to criminal activities. Plot twist. Loser ended up becoming a detective in the NYPD and earning good money. He had earned a scholarship to an elite boarding school and he attended college. Whereas Winner led a life marked by criminal activities. His first arrest in September of 77 for aggravated assault. He accumulated over 30 arrests for offenses such as trespassing, theft, and resisting arrest. In 2002, they were interviewed and they reported that they barely saw each other anymore. Winner occasionally contacts loser for financial assistance. What's my theory on this? My theory on this? Entitlement can be damaging. Such as being named winner and then just like being treated as if you're going to be a winner, or, you know, just that expectation, that can be harmful. Whereas some people are motivated to excel in spite of their, you know, their starting point. So even if you're named winner or loser, you can still shape your own destiny. I think that's what I take away from this. Wow. Twitch has their own caption services. It's even available in the app. Good. I like to include my own captions. I don't know what to ask, but just express how fucking sad I am. I have such crippling mental health issues that keep me housebound. I want to date, I want to go out, I want to travel, I want to hang out with friends, I want to live life. Not just endure and keep my head above water. It's so fucking hard and lonely, and I get so angry I have to deal with this shit, and that taking steps are so fucking hard. Fuck agoraphobia. I agree, fuck agoraphobia. I second this. Fuck agoraphobia. But I believe change is possible. If it were easy, you would have figured it out already. But it sucks that it has to be hard, but I feel like that's how life is. Don't give up. Focus on that next step. Prove yourself wrong. Direct that anger at your symptoms instead of directing it at yourself. Try to convert it into motivation. For example, with depression, I find it more helpful to be angry at your depression than to be angry at yourself for being depressed. What are we barking at? What are we barking at? What is it? What is it? It's literally just children. It's children walking down the street. I know, I'm suspicious of them too. Keep barking. Keep barking. Tell those kids to get out of here. Questioner, you're not alone in this, and there is support and help available. And I would just say, keep it up. Just keep up the good work. Don't be afraid to ask for help. We'll be here cheering you on. So just stay focused on that next step. That's the one that matters most. Don't worry about all the steps. Just focus on that next one. Celebrate those small successes. Keep heading in that direction. And you'll get to where you're trying to go. Atticus, I can't with your barking today. My head. Atticus, please. Are we done? You done barking? Thank you. It's cricket with a massive, gigantic W. Let's hear it. So I had a good cry this morning, but it wasn't a regular cry, it was a joyful cry. You love to see it. Love a joyful cry. It was a happy cry because I finally reached a point where I feel like I truly have a sense of purpose and direction in my life. Period. I don't think I've ever mentioned this before on stream or in Discord, but let me tell you about something that's about myself. It's one of my biggest passions in life, creating nail art on sets of artificial nail extensions. In fact, it's not even just a hobby for me anymore. I'm pursuing a professional career as a nail artist, also known as a nail technician. In 2022, I took and completed multiple courses at a specialized beauty/aesthetics college to obtain a diploma and 2 certifications in nail tech. Sweet. Hell yeah. But I don't want to just stop there. My ultimate goals in life are even bigger than just doing people's nails as my job. One of my biggest goals for the future is to become a successful entrepreneur by launching my own brand of cosmetic nail products. And if I manage to make enough money with that endeavor, I want to take it a step further by using a bunch of that money for philanthropic efforts. My biggest philanthropic goal is to launch a non-profit organization that offers financial grants to aspiring entrepreneurs with autism and other neurodevelopmental conditions, as well as free business mentorship to such individuals. The purpose of this would not only be to empower and motivate neurodivergent adults to pursue their interests and ideas as a career, but also to help them have the financial means to do so. Sounds like a very positive, uplifting goal. Love to see it. In my experience, I'm very grateful and lucky that both my mom and stepdad have always been incredibly supportive in anything I wish to achieve. That's good. That's rare. Cherish it. I know they can be annoying sometimes, but that's just parents. You know, like, to have them be so supportive, that's a gift. They paid for my college tuition, drove me 3 hours round trip to my classes twice a week, and spent a lot of their own money to help me collect all the items I would need for a successful career in nails. And believe me, you need a lot of different items to do nails, which are not cheap either. But I'm well aware of the sad reality that not everyone has the support from their immediate family, so I'd really like to be a part of the solution and bridge that gap that prevents some people from achieving their career goals. Another thing I hope to do someday is write and publish a personal memoir to tell the world my story of where I came from and how I got to where I am now. I already have an idea of what I would probably title this memoir, From Underestimated to Unstoppable. I want nothing more than to be a source of hope, inspiration, and empowerment to people who are feeling the despair I felt for so many years. I want to make a meaningful impact and a positive difference in our society. I certainly still have really rough days, including suicidal days, but having these specific goals in mind does help me to avoid losing sight of why I want to stay in this world. Sometimes I wonder if it's too much for someone like me to actually make happen, if it's even worth trying or bothering, but then I remember a quote I once read that really stood out to me. Will you think one day or day one? I know I just have to take things one day at a time and everything will fall into the right place at the right time. Thank you for reading this, and thank you for being such a wholesome and uplifting community. By the way, I remember that someone in the question box once asked what kind of nails they should get done for Halloween. I saw that same person in the Discord today talking about going through a hard time, and it gave me an idea. I was thinking about offering to make them a custom set of nails they could wear to cheer themselves up, free of charge. I didn't want to ask right away because I didn't know if it would be appropriate to make such an offer. Yeah, I would reach out with them in the Discord. That sounds very nice. It sounds like a very nice thing to do. Don't mean to self-promo, but you seem like an intellectually and an interesting individual, and I would love to interview you while we're both live. Yeah, let's talk about it. You caught me on an off day. I'm at 25% battery life. But no, I do want to do more interviews. I've just been waiting to do that. We're getting there though. Oh, thank you for sharing that W. Thank you for sharing that W. And this is the kind of stuff we want to see more of, you know, we want to see more of, like, you know. I want to see more of that positivity. I stuck around that Gecko stream yesterday to figure out what it's about. Yeah, I've never really watched him before, but I've heard about him and I've seen some clips. And so I kind of was just like, let's see what this guy's about. Casey said I have a better approach. She said she likes my techniques better. And I agree. No, he's pretty popular, but yeah, he's more of like he does more like a comedic approach. He's a comedian that does therapy. I'm a therapist that does comedy. That's the difference. Just a light question. But I wonder why I have this desire to have at least 3 to 5 of the same product when I really, really like something. For example, if there's a candle set or a weed Benjamin / cart that I enjoy, I get an intense desire to have items in groups of exactly 3 to 5. Never more than that because it makes me uneasy to have too much excess, unless it's the same product but different types, if that makes sense. That makes sense. So one time I found a weed pen I liked and I collected 3 of that strain and kept it locked in my safe. Anytime the number would go down, I would get a little anxious and made sure I had a different type stocked up in a group of 4. Same with my candles from Bath & Body Works, and I even do this with my dog's food sometimes. It's almost like a fear I'll never be able to get the item or afford it again, but I also feel bad because this seems rather greedy. Thoughts? Our anxiety likes to have a job. Anxiety stays busy. It likes to have a job. It likes to figure out, what am I going to eat next? What am I going to do next? What do I need to get ready for? What should I plan to do? How should I handle that if that happens? Anxiety. I'm not going to say this is like OCD or anything, but OCD is an anxiety disorder. And OCD is just like an advanced form of like an anxiety condition. So when you talk about like having certain numbers of things, you see what I'm saying? Alright, my brain is cooked right now. Let me drink some water. My anxiety needs a new job. Tell it to watch your breathing. Tell it to watch your breathing. Yeah, I would just say that this is an anxiety thing. You know, it's like, am I going to be able to get this again? What happens if I run out of this thing? And I feel like what this might stem from is self-efficacy. Self-efficacy. Let me explain why. You need to trust in your ability to get something that is as good or something that you also like if you do run out of that thing. Or to get another one if you run out of that one. So just think about it. What would happen if I did run out of this thing? What would I do about it? How would I handle that? How would I navigate that situation? I don't think there's anything wrong with like stocking up on something you like, don't get me wrong. But I feel like if we're putting too much anxiety into it, we want to be mindful of that. Like, trust in your ability to figure things out if you do run out of that thing. That's what it's all about. And that's what I mean when I say self-efficacy. Trusting in your ability to navigate that situation. Hopefully I answered your question. My brain is cooked today. I said 25%. I think I'm running at 20%. I'm dedicating too much of my brain power into not paying attention to my headache right now. I've got my headache compartmentalized and localized within a certain region of my brain, and I'm having to redirect all of my brain activity around that. Anyway. I can cut the stream short. I probably will. I'm probably only gonna go for like 3 hours today. I take a painkiller. I don't like to take those. I'm not a fan. I do therapy already. How do I dismantle my internal saboteur and stop projecting? TBH, yesterday you had a really impactful answer to my question, and I'm thinking a lot about it. Blaming or hating others feels good, but I'm aware I solve 0% of my problems this way. What is the best way to face these two mechanisms and overcome them, considering I'm already in therapy? Thank you. Alright. Awareness is everything. Whenever you catch yourself engaging in these types of behaviors, that is a teachable moment. That is a moment where you can course correct and you can direct yourself a different way. We don't want to do it from a place of like judgment or criticism. We're doing it from a place of, wanting to be helpful, wanting to be productive. And we're trying to mend these behaviors and we're trying to learn new behaviors. And so when we catch ourselves engaging in these old ways of thinking, rather than feeling bad about it, which is what a lot of people do, they say, oh my God, why am I thinking this way? Why can't I change? Why can't I think differently? And then it just ends up making it worse. But when you catch yourself engaging in these negative thought patterns, recognize that this is a chance. This is an opportunity. This is the time where I can actually do something different. You gotta redirect, So when you find yourself engaging in these types of thought processes, these types of patterns that we get into, recognize it, take a step back from it, and ask yourself, what do I want to do with this? Where do I want to go from here? What I find to be helpful to, let's talk about projecting, for example. Let's talk about projecting. I'll give you some examples on what we can do to stop projecting. Let's start with that one. Whenever you find yourself thinking something negative about someone else, take a moment to ask yourself, what is it about me that most reflects what I am criticizing this person for? Because me just being critical of this person doesn't really do anything to help them. It doesn't really do anything to help me. It just kind of makes me feel better because I feel, like I'm a better person than them. But the only person that we have the power to do anything about is ourselves. And so whenever we catch ourselves being critical or judgmental, just take a moment to reflect, what is it about me that also applies to this? So, for example, if I'm criticizing somebody for being untidy or lazy or whatever it is, was okay, but in what ways am I also that? Because we most often criticize others for that which we are unable to criticize within ourselves. I think the caffeine's helping. The caffeine's hitting and my brain is coming online. I feel it. I feel it happening. As far as dealing with your internal saboteur, challenge the parts of yourself that believe that you can't change, or the parts of you that believe that you can't make it or you can't do what it is that you need to do. Because we have these types of conflicting thoughts and these conflicting beliefs that exist at the same time within us, but we want all of us to be on the same page. We want to see ourselves succeed. But there tends to be a part of us that wants to see us fail so that we can say, see, I told you so. I was right. I knew it wasn't worth it to try. We were going to fail, so why bother? See, I told you so. And we need to tell that part of ourselves to shh. Just... You're you're not helping. Like, what I like to think about is I like to think about all of the different aspects of myself, and I like to imagine that they're all sitting together at a big table. There's the parts of me that believe in myself, that's the parts of me that love myself, that's the parts of me that like to have fun, there's the parts of me that are serious, there's, all of the different aspects of my personality. But then there's this guy sitting at the table who's just like, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think I'm gonna make it. I think we should just give up. And we need to tell that guy, all right, get with the program, buddy. Embrace every part of yourself and, encourage every part of yourself to want to see you be successful. We like to have these beliefs that we are one, whole consciousness, but in reality, there's multiple different ideas and multiple different beliefs floating around in your head right now. And they all want to have a voice. So bring them to order. It's a chorus. Exactly, it's a chorus, so try to find harmony. I struggle to make myself eat. Relatable. Sometimes when we, especially if you're the type of person to... If you're the type of person to, have, a strained relationship with food or something, it can be difficult. It's you need food, right? Food is fuel. What I find to be helpful if I'm not feeling hungry or but I know I need to eat is I will put on a video that's related to food, and I find that makes it easier for me. So find something that's helpful for you. I find that it's easier for me to eat if I'm distracted while I'm doing it. But if I'm just sitting there hyper focusing on my food, I'm just shuffling things around on the plate. Feeling sad because I'm wondering if I gave you the headache. No, I think it's the change in the weather. I think it's a pressure thing. It feels like a pressure headache. It was really warm and now it's getting cold, and whenever the weather shifts like that, I normally get a headache for that day when it's the air pressure shift. So unless you control the weather, do you control the weather? I don't think so. Bit of a long post. What's funny is I looked at the post and it's this is not a long post. Why is it when I try to stand up for myself, my parents shun me, manipulate me, and treat my 26-year-old brother even more like a baby than they usually do? I know they do it on purpose, especially when I come out of my room. They even put on a sort of baby voice. I understand that no one owes me anything, but I've been treated so differently from my sibling my whole life that I sometimes feel worthless. I want to get out, but I'm having so much trouble finding a way. Okay, so here's the thing. When you say I understand no one owes me anything, I would disagree. Your parents owe you. They brought you into this world. They gave birth to you. They owe you. You didn't sign up for this. They brought you into this. And so they owe you a good upbringing. They owe you nurturance and guidance and attention and love. They owe that to you. I don't like this notion that nobody owes me anything. It's like, motherfucker, I didn't sign up for this. Do you remember signing up for this? Do you remember being like, all right, time to be born, let's go? No. No, you didn't. I feel like when people tell each other like nobody owes you anything, that's just a way that they can try to avoid accountability for like being compassionate and helpful to you. They're just like, well, nobody owes you anything, and that's just like, okay, so that's just, so the world is just a cold and uncaring place? That sounds like shit. I feel like we all owe something to each other. You know, in a shared human experience, we owe each other compassion. We owe each other empathy. It's a very individualistic way of thinking, very on brand for Americans. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is the kind of rhetoric that you'll hear a lot in like abusive American households. Be like, nobody cares about how you feel. The world is cold. You need to toughen up. Nobody owes you anything. Like, it's just kind of disturbing to me that a parent wouldn't feel like they owe things to their child for bringing them into existence. Like, you owe them love. You owe them nurturance. You owe them compassion. Like, why wouldn't you? Anyway. So why is it when I try to stand up for myself, my parents shun me, manipulate me, and treat my 26-year-old brother even more like a baby than they usually do? It's giving narcissist. It's giving narcissistic parenting. I can't say for sure, but let's take a look, because it's starting to sound like narcissistic parenting. They say things like, without us, you'd be on the street. Or, after all we've done for you, you do this. When all I want is to hang out with someone. And that's reasonable. You should be able to do that. You should be able to spend time with friends. You're not making unreasonable requests, but they're responding in an unreasonable way. They seem to hold money and guilt over me, trying to overshadow the emotional neglect and abuse they have caused. If I try to mention something my dad once promised, like a little more freedom, he'll snap. I didn't say shit, you know better, or similar comments. It's like their words make me doubt my own thoughts and memories. Okay, yeah, this is definitely starting to sound more and more like narcissistic parenting. Oh, I would recommend taking the time to research and read more about what happens in narcissistic parenting situations so that you feel less crazy. Because one of the things that happens when you have narcissistic parents is they make you feel crazy and they make you feel like you're the problem. They make you question your own memories, they make you question your own sanity. And it's just a way of further manipulating you. Sometimes I feel like an infant or a burden, but deep down I know that's not true. When I used to go to college classes, I felt so free. I know that I'm capable. I know what I'm capable of. But coming back here makes me feel trapped and feel almost this sense of sacredness. Scaredness? As I'm writing this, I feel guilty. Not because you should feel guilty, but because you were taught to feel guilty, and there's a difference. Just because we feel a way doesn't mean that it needs to be true. A feeling is not a fact. You shouldn't fear your parents. Full stop. That's not the type of relationship that a parent should have with their children. I just don't like it when I don't like it when parents treat their children like they're the enemy. I feel like I should be grateful and that what they've done, what they're doing isn't that bad. Okay, well here's the thing. Kindness is free. Kindness costs $0. And just because they give you food and they give you shelter does not give them permission to mistreat you. I would look into doing some inner child work because your inner child is probably holding on to some old wounds, and those are wounds you're gonna want to work on healing. It's this continuous back and forth that eats me alive when I'm here with them. They haven't hit me or spanked me in years as they did when I was a child, but the manipulation feels like it's eating me alive. It's almost like their words and energy are making me feel the pain I felt in the areas they have hit. They can never do anything wrong. I'm always the one needing to say sorry. My memory is starting to feel short term. I just need some reassurance, please. Alright, you're not crazy. You're not crazy, and everything that you're describing really lines up with what happens when you are in these types of situations. This is how abusers make you feel. This tracks. Miss Poopy's at my desk today, and she keeps trying to hit my keys. She loves sleeping on my desk. She's so cute, too. You might find this relatable. Let me go ahead and just read to you the narcissist's prayer. The narcissist's prayer. That didn't happen. And if it did, it wasn't that bad. And if it was, that's not a big deal. And if it is, that's not my fault. And if it was, I didn't mean it. And if I did, you deserved it. I need to post this picture for you so you can see. I'm gonna post this picture so you can see my point of view. Because I need you to see this. Just look at that face. Look, there's you. Look, you're on TV. What do you think about this? I've read this on stream before, and I always come back to it because it really does just like, you know, especially for people who grew up with like narcissistic parents, it really is just like, wow, yes, accurate. Just completely devoid of accountability. Nothing is their fault. They will never apologize. And if they do somehow apologize, like you back them up into a corner and they have no choice but to apologize, it's just like, it's the worst apology you've ever gotten in your entire life. It's like, I'm not sorry for what I did. I'm sorry for the role I played in this. I'm sorry that things got this far. I'm sorry that that had to happen. And then what do? They throw the fucking pity party. They throw the pity party. I'm just such a terrible person. How do you put up with me? You deserve so much better. And then they somehow make you feel bad for them. Oh, hi, Miss Poopy. You switching around? You rotating? Throw pity parties all the time. Accountability is better than pity. Also, I'm talking about it within the context of a narcissistic abuse cycle. It's different. Got some pretty sad news yesterday. I'm sorry. At this point, it just seems like you just want to be bonked. Sorry to put in a rather depressing submission immediately after sharing such a big W. The situation is just lingering on my mind ever since I heard about it last night. As I mentioned before, I have several older sisters, therefore I also have many nieces and nephews. Unfortunately, my 11-year-old niece, who also happens to have autism, was abruptly taken out of the care of her mom yesterday by the Children's Aid Society. Basically the Canadian equivalent of CPS. Damn. You hate to see it. As somebody who used to work with families to prevent that from happening, you hate to see it. I did IIS, it was intensive in-home services. And I would go in and I would teach parents how to be better parents. It was my first big boy psychology job out of college, by the way. Apparently the house she was living in with her mom was in such a state of mess and filth that the stench of it made plumbers vomit when they walked in. Dirty dishes stacked everywhere, flies buzzing around, garbage littered all over the couch and mattresses. Yeah, it sounded pretty fucking nasty. Sounds like advanced depression. Like, advanced depression. I just got back. I hope you didn't read mine yet. I might have. Was it the one about dealing with your parents treating you like a baby? Oh, no, wait, no, not the parents. That might have been yours that I read. Was talking about how it was giving narcissistic abuse. It's about mini hoarding, but not. Oh, buying 3 of a thing or 4 of a thing. That one. I did. We'll talk about it in a minute. I'll read this one and then we'll talk about it in a minute. Since you're here. I'll just give you a quick TLDR. I've walked into houses like this and it's always rough. It's just like some people just have such a hard time like taking care of themselves and a family and things. They just fall into despair. You hate to see it. They just feel like they're a failure. They feel like they can't like be good parents and they just, Miss Poopy, what are you doing? Oh my God, Miss Poopy, what have you done? Stop. She's sabotaging me. I do have empathy for her mom, my sister, because she struggles with autism herself and a variety of other mental and physical health issues. She unfortunately won't be able to get her daughter back for at least a few months, if not over a year. My niece was placed in the care of one of my other sisters rather than a completely random foster home. That's good. I'm glad they were able to keep her with family. That's always preferred. So I guess at least that is a silver lining to it. Yeah, it's like you would always rather see somebody placed with another family member than just like taken out of the family entirely. But I mean, crisis is an opportunity for change. Okay? Like that's something that I like in like working in a job where I had to work with families like this every day. One of the things that we regularly taught people was that crisis is an opportunity for change. Like, things are really bad right now, but this is an opportunity to make things better. So take that opportunity. Get that house cleaned up. Get yourself taken care of. Emily Schmerded. Emily Schmerda. What I talked about, you know, with the bot, I'm not going to reread it, but I'm going to pull it back up just so that it's sitting here. Just a light question. Just a light question. I'm gonna pull it back up just so that we have it here. What I said is that I feel like this ties into self-efficacy. Your belief in your own ability to do things or to accomplish things. Meaning, you know, if I do run out of this thing, am I going to be able to go get another one? Can I do that successfully? Like, or can I find an alternative replacement? Can I find something that is also going to meet my needs? And this is the way that I look at it. This is kind of just a job that you have given your anxiety. Anxiety likes to have a job, and this sounds like the job that you've given to your anxiety. So trust in your own ability to find replacements for things if it does come to that. Because even if you're not able to find the exact same thing, which to be honest, you probably will, for most things, you'll probably be able to find the same thing. Maybe not so much for weed strains and stuff, because they're always changing those up. They're always, you know, every time you go to the weed shop, they've got entirely different things, because that's just the way that those places go. Like, oh no, I can't find the bubblegum lollipop twist strain that I've been enjoying, and now I have to go with the lemon hybrid zinger. It's just like, it's like, oh, or do you want the Bubba Gump raspberry Randall? Am I getting a random wave of urge to cut again? What is happening in my brain? You are having positive emotions, and sometimes you appear to react to positive emotions with self-destructive behaviors, and this is a great opportunity to redirect. This is a great opportunity to practice thinking a new way. So what would you rather do instead? Let's pick a new, healthy response to these feelings instead of engaging in the old self-destructive habits. Redirect to what, though? Gratitude's a good place to start. What are you grateful for? Hey, Papa. Here's another chapter in the saga of my brother not speaking to my parents anymore. Oh, I'm sat. I've been following this saga for a while now. Last we spoke, I wanted to buy them a baby Keurig specifically for their bottles, but they declined, so I returned it. When I visited them right after, guess what? They ended up getting one. LOL. See, we knew it. We called it. Oh my god, we called it so hard. Do you remember? I remember that question, and I remember we called it so hard. They're like, you're gonna want this. Like, I don't even have a baby, and I knew that they were gonna want it. Like, I knew that. I don't even have a baby. I'm just like, you're gonna want this. Heating up baby bottles to the exact precise temperature is a pain in the ass. And they make products that do it consistently so that you can have a perfect temperature baby bottle 100% of the time, and it is a lifesaver. But the fact that they're just like, oh, we won't need that. I'm just like, okay, you're gonna want it though. Oh my god, that's actually so funny. Because we called it. We knew that they were going to want it. And they ended up having to get a second-hand one from Facebook Marketplace. burned my little man before, right? And it's so easy to do because, like, if you heat up a baby bottle, it's like you want it to be consistently heated, and that's even difficult to do because sometimes it's like maybe the stuff at the top isn't as hot, or like, you know, there's a hot spot in it. You know what I mean? So like sometimes you'll even test it and be like, okay, that seems okay, but then there's like inconsistent heating. That's why it's just so nice to have something that can heat it consistently and safely every time. But they somehow found the cash for a brand new Acura, and yes, I'm still a little bitter about that. Anyway, they went on about how helpful the machine was and how much they appreciated my gesture, but they really didn't want me buying it for them. They also told me that I'm not allowed to buy gifts for my nephew anymore. Like, I was just getting him a couple of clothing items every month since he's growing so fast. It's frustrating. And to think, these are the same people who said my parents are toxic. Anyway, at this point, I'm focused on being there for my nephew as much as I can, even if I have to endure his dumb parents. Sorry, I just needed to rant. Lol. It sounds like, okay, so you said parents were toxic. Sometimes one of the ways that people will handle toxic parents is they will adopt a mantle of toxic independence. We don't need help from anybody. We don't need anybody to do anything for us. We can make it on our own. We can do this without help. Don't help us. Don't bother. Don't ask. And so sometimes we have a toxic upbringing, or we have toxic parents, and we like to think that we aren't toxic in our own way, but I feel like everybody has toxic traits that they just need to be mindful of so that they can change those traits. And that includes, like, toxic independence. Just feeling like I don't need help from anybody, I can make it on my own, I don't want your help. I don't need your help. But we all need help. My entire body and mind is compelling me to do it. Don't. Don't. Because you're going to regret it. Asked me once if these gifts were from me or my parents. It was weird. Right? Like, if they had a problematic relationship with the parents and they're just like, I don't want them to have anything to do with me, I don't want their help, I don't want any of that, it's like, they're also applying that to other sources of help. It's like, we have a hard time distinguishing. Why would I regret it? Because it's an unhealthy, maladaptive coping skill. And it's something that people take a lot of time and a lot of effort to change about themselves because they know it's not healthy. That's why. And we're practicing healthy habits. I like that Dry Alex emote. I need to get gifted a Dry Alex sub. I need to go to your chat and beg for subs. Do you stream? I didn't realize there were Dry Alex emotes. don't want to make you disappointed in me, but I just really can't get over this urge. Don't spoil your W. You said you were feeling hopeful today. Don't spoil it for yourself. And that's what it sounds like you're doing. You were feeling good and you're just like, well, can't have that. I get scared to offer suggestions to others who struggle with self-harm, but I at some point got to where I started thinking about watching a little version of me hurt myself or my kid and doing it, and it stopped it for me, but it turns into, yeah, and I feel like I'm glad that you got through that. I'm glad you got over that. You know? Like, treat yourself with kindness. Don't punish yourself for having feelings. Like, happiness does not need to be accompanied by pain. Is being hyper-independent truly toxic? Of all the traits, it has the least negative impact on society and collective karma and stuff, IMO? Well, I would say it is, but I would say it's definitely not as toxic as other things. As far as toxicity goes, I would rate it pretty low. Like, if we had a toxicity scale that ranked from 1 to 10, I would rank it at probably like a 2. And the reason why I phrase it that way is because I recognize it as one of my toxic traits. Like, when I need help, I don't reach out. Like, when I need, like, I'm just like, all right, let me do it on my own. I can figure this out. I can handle it. I can manage. But what I'm realizing is that that's harmful to me. Because it's okay to ask for help. Asking for help is a strength. And that's why I approach it from that way, is because I recognize it as a toxic trait of mine, and that's why I label it as such. Because none of us make it on our own. We have made it this far as a species through collective effort, by supporting one another. Now, it is nice to be able to be independent, don't get me wrong, and it is nice to be able to do things on your own, absolutely. But we don't have to do everything on our own. We don't have to be alone in everything. Cutie Cheeks, I think you're onto something. See, I told you you're a genius. But yeah, I think you're onto something. The part of your brain that feels like falling in love is also the same part of your brain that produces feelings of fear. And it's just like how the part of your brain that produces feelings of excitement also produces feelings of anxiety. You often find that the inverse of certain emotions are produced in the same regions of your brain, which is why we often make those connections between things like happiness and pain. Like, we sometimes feel like we can't be happy, or if we do feel happy, we're waiting for the other shoe to drop, and so we have to be like, well, no, I can't feel happy because of all of these reasons. This is too complicated to comprehend right now. Yeah, I feel like I'm up to about 45% brain efficiency at the moment. So I'm struggling to fully comprehend as well. I get unnecessarily frustrated helping people sometimes. I had to learn this myself, why can't they? And then I remember I did that to myself, not this person asking me for help now. Right? And then another thing that I like to look at when it comes to that is that in learning, you teach, and in teaching, you learn. I feel like society promotes self-success without people's help. And if you ask for help, you're not as good. Nobody made it on their own, you know? Nobody made it on their own. One of the most important things that we teach people in mental health is that it's okay to ask for help, because asking for help is a strength, not a weakness. Like, who cares how you get there? It's like, if you get there on your own or if you get there with help, who cares? You got there. You did it. Like, that's what matters. Like, you could build a house on your own, but it might take you years to build it, or you could build a house with other people and it wouldn't take you as long. And so it's like, of course, you could do it both ways, but one of them might be a little bit easier. One of them might not take as much time. Maybe you won't learn as much about how to do it if you, but who knows? You might. I just hate that some people use their support. Like, when you give help away, like, give it away without expecting anything in return. But if people, like, support... Ugh. I'm making chicken tikka masala in the crock pot. And I want to go give it a stir. But I'll take this question first. I do get relatable. Sometimes I feel like I use helping people as a way to distract myself from helping myself. When you feel like everything is going wrong, even if it's multiple small things that feel like a lot, can that be your head catastrophizing everything? And are there ways to take care of that overwhelming feeling? What I find to be helpful in these moments is to dial it in. Dial it in. Focus on that one thing. Focus on that next step. You know, you might have multiple things that you're trying to work on. You might have multiple balls in the air. Focus on one. What is one thing that you can work on? And oftentimes what happens is when you commit to working on one thing, what you'll realize is that the other things that you also felt overwhelmed by, the pressure from those will also start to lessen. And so sometimes just trying to focus intently on working on one thing actually helps you in multiple areas. Just think about it. How many things can you pay attention to at the same time? How many things can you do at once? So if you're feeling overwhelmed, focus on one thing. One thing in that stack. And work on that. And then that'll lighten the load, and the rest of it will become easier to handle. So take it one step at a time. The next step is always the most important one. Alright gang, give me just a second. I'm gonna go stir my crock pot, and then we're gonna jump into our presentation on synesthesia. I'll be right back. Be right back. Take a hippo break. Moodang is good for your mental health, it's true. I'm Team Pesto, get out of here, Moodang. Clam bake, shut up. Look at that hippo. Look at that baby. Baby Moodang. Alrighty. Bringing the Moodang break to an end. Oh, I love that hippo. You see Moodang, you're not allowed to be upset. Why are human babies so ugly but animal babies are cute? Good question. That's a good question. Making beef stew. Oh, yeah. Pad Thai. Nice. I went and I gave my crock pot a stir. Making chicken tikka masala in the crock pot. Alright, everybody. Let me do a quick poll. Just a quick poll. I just want to get an idea. This is just a quick poll, just a 2-minute, just a quick little poll. I just want to know who here has heard of synesthesia. It's our topic of the day. We're going to do a little presentation here on synesthesia. I reckon some of us probably have never heard of it before. If you haven't heard of it, buckle up, because this is going to be a trip. I make everyone else miserable with my own misery. This is literally only you saying this. The only person who is saying these things about you is you. So chill. The only thing you need to do right now is chill. We're resetting the vibes. We're resetting the vibes. Take a moment. Recenter the vibes. Alright, so it looks like a pretty fair split. About 60% said yes, they've heard of synesthesia, and about 40% no. Okay. That sounds about right. So if you haven't heard of synesthesia before, I'll tell you all about it here in just a sec. So this is a really interesting topic. You're gonna like this one. This one's really interesting. So if you've never heard of this before, I'm excited, because I remember the first time I learned about it, I was like, huh? Kind of blew my mind. So yeah, you're in for a real treat. You're in for a real treat. Alright, the vibes have been lifted. The vibes have been lifted. Dumb Comet, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the 11 months. Okay, here's the thing. I'm going to be very direct with you, and I'm going to be a little bit stern here, so this isn't me being mad. This isn't me. I'm not mad at you. I'm not upset. But continuously saying, I'm ruining the vibes, I'm ruining the vibes, I'm ruining the vibes, I'm ruining the vibes, that is ruining the vibes. So just chill. That's all you have to do. Just breathe. Just hang out. Just exist. Just be cool. That's all you got to do. But just to continuously like beat yourself up and hate on yourself, it's like, yeah, that is kind of dampening the mood. No one is saying that about you but you. No one agrees with that but you. Be kind to yourself. Talking about synesthesia. All right, buckle up. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Exactly. So I do agree with it. When you continuously just bring it up and you just say, I'm ruining the vibes, I'm ruining the vibes, I'm ruining the vibes, that ruins the vibes. But you keep bringing it up. Just don't. Like, consider this. If I were to just go to a chat and just say, "Are you mad at me?" And then I was just to start spamming, "Are you mad at me? Are you mad at me? Are you mad at me?" Like, people weren't mad at me. But then if I could just continue to ask it, it's like, okay, well, now I am kind of getting annoyed. We create a self-fulfilling prophecy. Synesthesia. Why am I mad at you? I'm furious. Synesthesia. What is synesthesia? What is synesthesia? Synesthesia. Synesthesia is a condition where stimulation of one sensory pathway leads to an automatic involuntary experience in another sensory pathway. So what does that mean? In all those complicated words, what does that mean is that a person may see colors when they hear a sound, or they may taste a specific flavor when reading words. It is a cross of your sensory pathways. One sense might be stimulated, but then you might experience another sense as a result. Is synesthesia where you can see music? That is one example of it. I'm going to talk about some different examples of it because it manifests in different ways. Here are some common types of ways that synesthesia is experienced. There's a form known as grapheme color synesthesia, and this is where we associate numbers or letters with specific colors. So for example, if I were to say, what color is the letter A? What color is the number 3? Like if you close your eyes and think about the number 3, do you get an impression of a color? Some people also associate certain days with colors. You might see or associate certain colors with days of the week. There's also a type of synesthesia called chromesthesia. This is where you experience colors in response to sound or music. This is one of the ones that we probably more commonly associate with being synesthesia. When you're listening to music, you might sense or feel or see certain colors. Three is blue, 2 is red. 3 is so green, and I don't even know how to explain it to you. 5, though? Five for sure, yellow. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. It's also a form of synesthesia known as lexical gustatory synesthesia. This is when we taste colors, or taste flavors when we hear certain words. And so our sense of taste is triggered when our hearing is triggered. What would be a sweet word? How do you feel about the word moist? Let's go over some of the common types of synesthesia. Here's a little article about synesthesia, and I'll tell you a bit more about how it works, but what I was going to go into is some of the different types of synesthesia here. Auditory tactile synesthesia. It means that sounds cause you to feel touch-based sensations such as temperature changes, pressure, or pain. I have this one. This is one of the ones that I have. Like, certain sounds will make me feel physically uncomfortable, or I will feel a sense of pressure at certain sounds. Some sounds can even be physically painful to me. That's why there's just some music I'm just like, I can't listen to this, it hurts me. Hearing motion synesthesia is when some people experience sounds related to seeing things moving. This would be a person hearing a whoosh sound when watching things go past. You see things go by, but you actually you imagine the sound going along with it, even though it's silent. Mirror touch synesthesia is when you see something happen to someone else and physically feel it too. Sound color synesthesia is when you see specific colors when you hear certain sounds. This is something that a lot of artists and musicians will say they have. Time-space synesthesia, a form of synesthesia where you visualize things in a very specific way. People who have this form of synesthesia often see sequences with specific patterns or forms. An example of this is visualizing a calendar or a string of numbers in a certain way. Some people can mentally map out these in vivid and detailed ways. I want to participate, but I don't think I should. I just feel horrible for what I did. The only person here who is saying that you should feel horrible is you, just so you know. So, are you done punishing yourself? Everyone here is saying that you shouldn't be punishing yourself right now. The thing about synesthesia is it can also have different levels of intensity. This is something that we all experience to a degree, is synesthesia. Some people experience it pretty intensely, and it's something that's like a daily thing for them. Some people may only experience it in certain moments. So let's talk about why it happens. Some researchers suggest that synesthesia is a result of what we refer to as neurological crosstalk. Basically, due to an increased connectivity between sensory regions in your brain, your sensory pathways overlap and they will activate multiple areas when one of them is stimulated. You don't think I shouldn't punish myself for ruining the vibes in the entire stream? The vibes are fine. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm vibing. I'm good. Another thing about synesthesia is that it tends to run in families. So this suggests that there is a genetic component to synesthesia, although the exact genes that are involved in this are not fully understood. I've been thinking a lot about radical acceptance lately. It's difficult to practice, though. What we refer to with a person with synesthesia, you would refer them as a synesthete. So, synesthetes' experiences show us that our perception is deeply personal and not a direct representation of external reality. Synesthesia provides us insight into how the brain can blend senses to create unique experiences. Let's talk about some of the ways that synesthesia influences daily life. Some people, some synesthetes, use their experiences creatively. It's understandable to assume that being able to experience things such as sound or music on a different level in different ways would give you an advantage creatively. Famous synesthetic artists include Vincent van Gogh, Billy Joel, Charlie XCX, just to name a few. There's actually many. Synesthesia is often linked to improved memory, as the additional sensory connections help synesthetes to create more vivid associations. So if you can think of things like numbers or dates or certain things, but you can associate them with other senses, if you associate them with like different emotions, different feelings, different sensations, it can make it can work to your favor in terms of remembering things. Synesthesia also enriches the daily experiences of a person by adding layers of sensory depth. Imagine tasting words or seeing music colors. In many ways, it can be fun and enjoyable. Oh, hello. She's switching. She's rotating. Gotta get up and rotate. Gotta stay comfy, Miss Pooh. Today I was looking at pictures of enchiladas and I could taste them. That's a good example of something like synesthesia. Have you ever been able to look at a picture of something and you actually can taste it? So there's an overlap between your physical sensation of taste and your sense of sight. It's a sensory overlap. That's what synesthesia is all about. But it can be between any of your senses. So now here's the question. Is synesthesia something that you can learn how to do? There are different forms of synesthesia. There is congenital synesthesia, something that would be genetic, something that was passed down to you. So maybe you are wired that way because your parents were wired that way, and so there would be a genetic component to it. But it is also possible to cultivate these synesthetic experiences through practice. There's a phenomenon we refer to as induced synesthesia. This can be done through meditation, this can be done through practice, this can be done through focus. Sometimes it can also be encouraged through the use of different mind-altering substances. Is synesthesia related to trauma, like when you smell something and it reminds you of an event? That would be a little bit different. What you're referring to there is the power of our sense of smell in regards to our memory. The sense of smell is actually, and the reason why this is because the part of your brain that produces sensations of smell, your olfactory bulb, is located very closely to the memory center of your brain. And so smells have the strongest connection to memory because they are the closest part of your brain to the memory part of your brain. So, smells have the strongest connection to memory of any of our senses. Now that brings up an interesting conversation point, like, is this just by chance? Is this an evolutionary design? Like, is there something about our sense of smell that we want to closely tie to memory, for example? Like, do we need to be able to smell certain things to, like, protect ourselves? Do we need to know if food smells dangerous? Do we need to know what smells safe? Do we need to smell when a storm is coming? Do we need to smell if there's something burning? Or, you know, it's interesting to think about. If you want to acquire or practice synesthesia, here are some techniques you can try. Does synesthesia apply to sight? It can. It can, absolutely. Associative learning. Practice connecting certain colors or images with sounds or letters. Over time, your brain may start to make these connections automatically. Mindfulness and visualization. By engaging in mindful visualization of sensory connections, you can help to create synesthetic experiences. For example, imagine tasting flavors while listening to different musical tones. This is something that you can do. You can train your brain to make those connections and you can blend your senses together. Interesting. Brain is interesting, right? Brain is interesting. You know, this is the brain domain after all. Sorry. Well, you can also engage in art and music exercises. Engaging deeply with music, colors, and textures, you can sometimes trigger synesthetic-like experiences. Try drawing or painting while listening to music and note any color associations. Let's try this. I want you to look at this picture. I want you to look at this lemon. Just look at this picture of this lemon and imagine holding a lemon. Look at this lemon and imagine holding a lemon. It's like you can almost feel what a lemon would feel like in your hands. You've probably held a lemon before. Now imagine tasting the lemon. You've probably tasted lemon before, and it's a very sour, very rememberable sensation. Just think about tasting lemon. It's like you can almost feel the tartness. What you're experiencing right now is technically synesthesia, because all you're doing is looking at a picture, but it's creating a physical sensation within you. It's activating your other senses, even though you're only looking at it. You see what you picking up what I'm putting down? You see what I'm getting at here? Hopefully this example can give you some insight into how synesthesia operates. So even just looking at, and I use a lemon intentionally because a lemon is like, it's a very rememberable feeling. It's like a very rememberable taste. And so it's unique in its like tartness and sourness, and it's like we all remember like the first time we're like, ooh, lemon, that looks tasty, and then you're like, oh, ooh, sour. It reminds me of the example of the color of meat is red, therefore we get hungry, right? And it's like, there's also some science behind that. It's like the color blue, if you're in a blue room, it can actually make you feel more sad. If you're in a red room, it can make you feel hungry, or it can make you feel like agitated. So synesthesia is something that we all experience, but you might not experience it to such a degree that you would describe yourself as a synesthete. So hopefully this explains synesthesia a little bit, just by recognizing the way that your brain does it already. Would this explain my texture aversions? I would say yeah. I would say yes. So why is this possible? Why is it possible to learn synesthesia? And it has to do with cross-modal perception. Research shows that the brain is naturally wired for cross-modal perception, meaning that even non-synesthetes can experience mild forms of sensory blending. This is how people universally associate high-pitched sounds with bright colors and low sounds with darker colors. The sound of opening a cardboard box makes my jaw hurt. Is that synesthesia? Yeah. A blending of the senses. Engaging in creative tasks that encourage immersion, like music or visual arts, can heighten your sensory awareness and make synesthetic experiences more likely. So being in that flow state. These activities also help us to improve our focus and relaxation. Practicing synesthesia doesn't require you to have it from birth. Instead, it offers a way to explore the fluidity of perception, expanding how we interact with and interpret our sensory world. So, some closing thoughts. Synesthesia, it gives us valuable insights into the complexity and adaptability of our sensory processing system. Even non-synesthetes can benefit from exploring these sensory connections. It can help you to improve your memory, it can help you to improve your creativity, and it can also increase your overall sensory appreciation. So try to experience synesthesia. You know, it can be a fun and enriching way to play with perception. It can open you up to a world of sensory exploration available to anyone willing to experiment. So what color is Saturday? When I say Saturday, today's Saturday, what color is Saturday? I like that we all have an answer. Let's watch this. Okay. Hold on, let me start it over. Time for a synesthesia test. I'm gonna mute the music. I'm gonna mute the music. So there's no sound with this. I want you to watch this, and I want you to tell me if you hear anything. I'm going to mute my mic as well, so there will be no sound coming through on the stream. Okay, one more time. To me, it's kind of like bubble wrap. But it was also kind of going like, whoop, 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 whoop. Just an example of one of the ways that our brains can cross our senses. And it's the thing is about it is it's a little bit different for everybody. Not everybody will experience the same result when their senses are crossed in such a way. Interesting, huh? Interesting, huh? Well, this is synesthesia. This is the presentation. I hope you found this interesting. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. But yeah, hopefully we all now know what synesthesia is. Thank you. Oh, my head hurts. My head hurts. All right, I'm gonna take a look at the question box. We've got just one. Just one. Papa and ibuprofen behind you. I'm at that point. I hate taking medications ever. But I'm at that point. I might just go take one and just go take a nap. I think that's what I'm about to do. Is this why we're particular about playing certain songs to certain moods? See, now you're onto something. That's a really easy way to explain synesthesia, is that certain songs, certain music can generate certain emotions within you. You know, like our senses aren't as distinct as we like to think that they are. We got one more little question in the box here. I'm gonna take a look at this, and then I'm gonna take a break because my head is pounding. I think I've been getting too much screen time. I need to just get away from screens. Doctor, counselor. I'm neither of those things, but thank you anyway. When I listen to ASMR, I feel fuzzy tingles in my head. This also happens when my husband massages my feet or other painful areas of my body. What causes this? Is something wrong with me? There's nothing wrong with you. Nothing wrong with you. Nothing to worry about. What this is this is just one of the ways that our body experiences sensation. It's not as clear and distinct as we like to think it is, and sometimes certain nerves are activated through sound or through touch, and it makes us feel some type of way in other parts of our body. It's totally normal. Oh. So yeah, nothing wrong with you. A lot of people enjoy listening to ASMR and that type of stuff. Alright, one more question and then I'm hitting the road. I have a little problem I'd like to talk about. I really need advice. Some time ago, I managed to leave my somewhat toxic home, but above all, obsessed with religion, in my case, Islam. You know, escaping a fundamental, like, my problem with religions is like fundamentalism, like restrictive orthodox type religions that are like inhibitive on a person's like individual liberties. Like what a lot of people in the United States have to deal with is like fundamental Christianity, and I feel like the problems that they deal, like as much as like there is an Islamophobia problem in the United States, it's like we have just as much problems being caused by fundamental Christianity. But anyway, sorry, I'm just a little distracted because my head hurts. I was never a believer, but I was always subject to its rules and therefore acted according to what was expected of me. Now that I have more autonomy, although I'm still economically dependent on my parents, I dress as I want and I can finally do things like comb my hair as I want, wear any clothes I like, or put on makeup, since for religious reasons I had to dress in a modest way. Now I am freer, but every day it becomes more difficult for me to maintain this lie to my parents, both emotionally and the situation itself. It's becoming more difficult for me to maintain these two lives. I would like some advice to cope with it all. Ooh. How do we feel about compartmentalization? Do we feel like it's okay to compartmentalize in these types of situations? Like just for the sake of keeping up appearances or just for the sake of keeping the peace? I feel like a lot of people do that, especially in regards to like their parents, if their parents have like very strict religious views. Just like playing the act when you're with the parents, but then living your life on your own when you're not around them. which can make you feel like you're not really like being yourself genuinely, you know what I mean? It's like you want your parents to accept you as you are and as you currently believe, but sometimes just to keep the peace, you play along. And I'm always an advocate for like, do what you need to do to like protect yourself. Like if your parents are gonna like take money away, or like they're gonna like strip support from you if you aren't like in agreement, it's just like, you know, like do what's best for you. I would also say connect with other people who have similar experiences. Because you're gonna find a lot that you can relate to, and you're gonna find a lot of support from other people who have found themselves in similar situations, because you're far from the only one. We've got other people in here who have had to deal with the same thing. And so I would say connect with them, reach out, talk about it. We do our best healing when we do it together. I'm happy to see that you are feeling more free. That's a good thing. You tell me I'm not a fan of religions that tell women what to do? Yeah, me either. Especially religions that like to claim that we should treat everyone equally. They're like, everyone's equal, we're all God's children, do unto others as you would want others to do unto you. But then you also, like, treat women as second-class citizens. It's like, okay. This is just disguised patriarchy. This is what happens when you view God as an angry dad. If your God is an angry dad, that just says so much about how you view the world. I'm 32 and I still play pretend with my parents and religion whenever I go home. And see, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm okay with people like keeping the peace, you know? If it's like, if it saves you the trouble of like having to get into an argument or getting like disowned. I've heard stories of people just like getting disowned or like even removed from the will. Most of the time it's really not that disguised. Yeah, in some religions it's even like a part of the religion. Like any religion that doesn't say that everybody is equal and that we should treat everyone with respect and empathy and that everyone should be able to have a voice, it's just like what's the point? It's just not for me. So I guess my advice would be to connect with people who have been in a similar situation so that you can talk about it. So you can, you know, engage in like conversation regarding that shared experience. You know, you might be able to help them and they might be able to help you. You know, you can learn from each other, and that's a beautiful thing. All right, my brain's shutting down, so I'm going to have to wrap it up. My brain's shutting down. I feel my brain turning off slowly. You know, whenever you shut off your computer and that thing pops up and it's like Windows is shutting down and it's waiting on these applications to close. That's how my brain feels right now. It's waiting on certain applications to close so that it can shut down. Thank you. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody. Be kind to yourself. Have a great night. We'll see you all next time. Later, Gators.